Being the god of lies and mischief might seem to make Loki look like the jester of the MCU, but there's definitely more to this character than meets the eye. He turned the Avengers against each other, nearly became the king of Asgard, and even almost destroyed Earth, all through some very clever deception. So, suffice it to say, this is one god that should not be taken lightly. His name and title come from his Norse counterpart, but Stan Lee and a few other writers shuffled things up to make him Odin's adopted son and brother to the god of thunder, Thor. His origin story isn't very pretty. Long before the events of Thor, Odin had to secure the realm and Asgard along with it. To do that effectively, he had to decimate rival armies and troops that would threaten the security of the nascent world. In fending off hordes, he came across one that was particularly violent and relentless. These were the Frost Giants, and their leader was Loki. Odin would enter into the battle with Loki one-on-one, but the fight died down when Asgardians and the Frost Giant horses entered into the mix. The Asgardians were able to repel the attackers and claim their bounty. Upon scouring the battlefield, Odin had noticed that there was a sack that appeared to be moving. He had ordered one of his men to check the source of the disturbance and brought their findings to Odin. They found that a child was kept hidden in the sack. Odin recognized the child instantly as Loki, the son of Loki. Loki had kept Loki hidden from the public eye as he was ashamed that he was not born a giant like the rest of his children. Odin, on the other hand, was a touch more sympathetic and took it upon himself to raise the child that was fit to be the son of a king. He then declared Loki to be son of Odin and half-brother to Thor, and regardless of his origins, he would be treated as an Asgardian. Though he was given title, honor, and prestige, Loki had always felt like the outsider in the family. Being constantly overshadowed by his elder brother had made him more than a little insecure, and Asgardians had generally prided themselves on their strength, bravery, and status, all of which Loki had lacked. So to compensate for this, he spent most of his time learning magic and deception. Once, as an adolescent, he had cast a spell on 3 spiders, making them huge, and then sent them out to attack his brother as a joke. As he grew older, however, the severity of his antics had gone beyond control, and this put him at constant odds with Thor. This is also what led to some of the best story arcs the Marvel Universe has seen. Let's not forget that the only reason we had Iron Man teaming up with Captain America and the Hulk was to take down Loki and his army. This was just scratching the surface, because in the Acts of Vengeance storyline, he had formed his own band of villains, kind of like the Reverse Avengers. This team included Red Skull, the Kingpin, Doctor Doom, and Magneto. He did all this with the intention of getting back at his brother and the Avengers. He had planned to send every villain to a different superhero, such as sending Vulture to the Fantastic Four and sending Graviton to Spider-Man. He did this by throwing off the superheroes, making them face off against villains they had never faced before. He did this to buy himself some time to carry out his plan, and he had the advantage of getting the team to do his dirty work. Of course, Thor got to know what his half-brother was up to and promptly put a stop to it. These feats alone should give you a good idea of what the God of Mischief can do if given enough time to scheme. But he is a god of sorts, and even though his strength does not come close to his brother's, he can more than make up for it with a host of other abilities. One of the most noticeable abilities he had, which we saw in the first Avengers movie, was that he could teleport at will if he had the Space Stone. But in the comics, Loki had no such handicap and could teleport to different places and even go to different dimensions without ever needing Heimdall to open Bifrost. Along with that, he gets the standard superhero package of powers like super strength and resilience. But something completely unique to his character is his ability to play around with magic. He can perform feats like telekinesis and project holograms of himself, become invisible, and even read minds. We also know that he is an adept shapeshifter and on more than one occasion has disguised himself to look like Captain America. But he can also transform himself into animals. Don't know where he'd need that one, but you never know. In the comics, Loki was even made the Sorcerer Supreme instead of Doctor Strange. A unanimous decision was made to ensure that the Sorcerer Supreme should be immortal to avoid conflict. Loki was actually one of the first selected for the position, and for good reason. He is well versed with magic, and given the feats he can perform without training, just imagine if he went over to Comrade to receive actual training. This should probably be the last thing on Loki's resume, but he did it. He has actually wielded Mjolnir, the honorable tool that had caused him great pain and the same one that marked his brother's ascension to the throne. He became worthy, though through what means, we'll never know. Also, since he is the master of deception, it's unlikely we'll know the true breadth of his powers. That's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button and remember to subscribe. For more like this, keep it at KRTV.